Hey everyone, I'm Steve. Today I'm going to be discussing 3 ways to maximize your training session. It's very important that you maximize your training session so that you're not just turning up and going through the motions, and so that when you turn up, you know what you're doing and you have the best training sessions that you can have. So the first tip is preparation. How do we prepare for your training session? And I'm gonna talk about a protocol called RAMP, okay? RAMP is raise, activate, mobilize, and potentiate, okay? So it's part of your warm-up routine before you lift weights or do any sprints or conditioning, okay? And this is exactly what it is. Raise, okay, R stands for raise, and what that means is we need to raise your body temperature, your core temperature, your muscle temperature, raise the heart rate. So we basically need to jump on a cardiovascular piece of equipment, whether that's the bike or the rower or a skip or a jog outside, and focus on 2 to 5 minutes of work where we're just getting nice and warm. A stands for activate. This is where we want to activate the muscles and the areas that are going to be used when you do your training session. So for example, if you are doing a lower body workout, we want to make sure we activate all those prime muscle groups that need to work, okay? So that's everything from the calves to the glutes, to the core, the lower back, the obliques, etc. So for example, we might use planks, side planks, glute bridges, single legs, bilateral glute bridges. We might get the bands involved and do some crab walks and monster steps and things like that. We want to activate and recruit those small muscles, okay, to help you in your session. Okay, M is for mobilization, okay? We need to create joint mobility, okay? How does that look? So for the spine, flexion, extension, we might do some thoracic rotations as well. If you're doing a lower body workout, we need to mobilize, make sure that the hips are nice and mobile and the knees are nice and mobile. That could be leg swings, it could be bodyweight squats. So you're basically taking the joints that are going to be used through a range of motion with some dynamic stretches. And also you can do some SMR, some self-myofascial release. Okay, so that's where you get a ball or a foam roller and you do some soft tissue work just to help open up tissues so that you can get into better ranges of motion. I like to do the mobility and mobilization part before the activation. Okay, so we know the RAMP protocol is activation, then mobilize. However, I like to flip that in reverse because a lot of people, they aren't mobile enough to get into positions. So a lot of people, for example, they have really tight hips or tight quadriceps, which limits their ability to fully extend the hip and activate the glutes. So if we do a bit of soft tissue work on the quads and a bit of stretching, it should help the glutes get into a better position to activate them. Okay, the final one for the RAMP protocol for your warm-up is P, potentiate. This is where we want to have a gradual increase on intensity, okay? So if you are doing the lower body workout and you are working at 50 kilos on the bar, you want to start building the warm-up. You want to start getting under the bar and start adding weight to the bar, okay? That's how you're potentiating the body. If you're an athlete playing a sport or competition, that's where you want to start doing gradually increasing your sprints and your change of direction, or light plyometrics if you're doing a power session, okay? You're potentiating the body to fully work. At higher levels, where more speed and power is involved, if you're an athlete at high level, you might use a protocol called PAP, which is post-activation potentiation. This is where you might do more heavy squatting and things like this. And that's gonna really jack up the nervous system and really fire up that nervous system and get you really ready for those power and speed activities ahead. Okay, tip number 2, pre-workout nutrition. So making sure you eat at the right time is going to help maximize your training. Ideally, anything between 30 minutes up to 90 minutes is the perfect time, depending on what sort of style of training you're going to be doing and what you're going to be eating. All right, I'll give you a few recommendations. So for example, if you're going to go in and do a workout that is very high volume, maybe like a fat loss workout, you don't want to be eating too many heavy foods near your training session. Okay, so the heavier the food, the further away from your training session, 90 minutes. Okay, so if you're going to have steak, maybe 90 minutes before your training session. If you're training really early in the morning and you might have some fruit or yogurt, you might want to have that 30 to 45 minutes before your training session because it's less heavy on the body and your body isn't going to be digesting that as early. depending on the type of training you're doing as well, you might want to manipulate what sort of food you're having. So always have a little bit of protein in your pre-workout meal. That could be animal protein, it could be fish, it could be chicken or beef, and a little bit of carbohydrates works really well as well. Okay, so a little bit of carbs can help fuel your performance and your training session, especially if you're going to be doing moderate to high volume workouts, which are basically more reps, more work, less rest periods, that sort of hard driven fat loss or building muscle sort of work. You need the carbohydrates as fuel in there. You can also have some fats, a little bit of fats such as avocado, or if you're having meat, the fats take care of itself. I don't recommend to have cereal because there's not good nutrition in that. Okay, so maybe try having a piece of fruit, or you can slice up a pear or apple and have some nut butter with it. But if you've got more time and you're more prepared, have an omelette or some scrambled eggs. Okay, ideally we want a protein-based breakfast. And when I say protein for breakfast, I don't mean just having bacon. Okay, bacon is not a good source of protein. So tip number 3 is recovery. If you aren't focusing on recovery, your training is pointless. You will never achieve the results you want to achieve. The number one way to recover from training is making sure you are on top of your sleep, okay? And that's a good 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, okay? Quality sleep is very, very important. It's when your brain is recovering, it's when your body is recovering, it's when a lot of calories are burned, okay? So if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. So whether it's for fat loss or you're an athlete and you're trying to be the best you can be and increase performance or build muscle, sleep is so important, all right? So a few ways to sleep better. Make sure you're sleeping in a dark room, okay? Blackout curtains, black room, okay? No lights on the TV, nothing like that. Your phone, make sure you turn the Wi-Fi off. Just take the phone out the room, or if you're gonna use the alarm, turn it on airplane mode. Turn off the Wi-Fi. You don't want that near your head when you're sleeping, okay? The third thing, make sure you are in the right temperature, okay? It's easier to go to sleep in a room that is cold than a room that is warm, okay? And that's because throughout the night, your body temperature will naturally drop anyway. And the last thing for good sleep is making sure you go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time most days. So having a good sleep routine is critical for your brain and for your recovery. Okay, so and a bonus tip for recovery is post-workout nutrition. Now this could be food or it could be a protein shake. Remember, protein shake is just a food supplement. So if you're getting the right amount of food in post-workout, you don't really need it. Post-workout nutrition is important because when you're training, you're switching on a ton of machinery in the body, okay? Whether that's for building muscle or performance or fat loss. So you're working hard in the gym, you're raising a lot of stress hormones on the body, and you're raising a lot of catecholamines, okay? So post-workout nutrition, protein and carbs, if you're allowed them post-workout, depending on your nutritional plan, it's gonna lower the stress that's on the body, okay? Dampen what's called cortisol, okay? And help you recover. It's one of the reasons why I don't like people to have caffeine straight after their workout, because caffeine is a stimulant. It's a good pre-workout supplement or coffee, but not good to have directly post-workout, okay? Because it's not gonna dampen the stress and the cortisol that's put on the body after the workout, okay? So maybe wait an hour or two if it's really early doors before your caffeine and first coffee of the morning. So those 3 ways to maximize your training session. The first, prep and preparation by using the RAMP protocol. Tip number 2 is nutrition, pre-workout nutrition. Make sure you have the right fuel in the body for your training session. The third tip is recovery, making sure you are staying on top of your sleep or getting in control of your sleep. And that final bonus tip is post-workout nutrition, whether that's from food or a shake, getting some protein and carbohydrates post-workout. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.